To prepare for the 1993 Monster Truck Racing Series, the members of Team Bigfoot were able to look back on an incredibly successful year in 1992. Bigfoot 10 and driver Andy Brass dominated the field and captured their second world championship by a record margin. As the season came to a close, focus shifted to research and development, trying to make the best even better. What followed was a wild plan for Team Bigfoot.
When we won the series in 1992 with Bigfoot 10, we decided to build another truck to race in the series for 93.
There's a lot we wanted to do in 93, and we felt we couldn't do it all with one truck. A big part of racing is R&D. We felt we wanted to go out in that race series and have the luxury of having a truck that we could do some R&D work with, but really have another truck that we know that could really go on and be very competitive and win that series. We could take a proven truck out there and run it, but also have a truck that we could go out and try some new things. It just gives us more opportunity to find out what works for us or what works in this racing situation. Wildfoot was the R&D truck, and it turned out to be a very good move for us. We learned a lot from that truck.
Bigfoot's biggest threat of the new season was snakebite, which finished a solid second in 1992. Snakebite's new driver, Ricky Rattler, had high hopes of beating Bigfoot, but then everyone dreamed of beating Bigfoot.
We knew everybody was going to be running tough. We knew everybody was going to be gunning for us because we already, we had the backup of the 92 series, and we knew we was going to be the top gun for 93, and then people was going to be looking at us. Snake has always been a real top racer. He's been running real hard last year.
Colt Cobra came out in 1992 with the new Ford Snakebite and almost beat what they would call the #1 Bigfoot. I ran the truck in 93 and stayed competitive with it.
A big field of the best in the business turned out for the first race of the season in Lima, Ohio. Two-time driving champion Andy Brass didn't miss a beat, driving the experimental Wildfoot truck to the top qualifying spot. Veteran driver Gene Patterson took the reins of Bigfoot 10 for the first time in 93 and qualified just behind Wildfoot with the second fastest time of the day.
Going down Lima, there was a little bit of pressure on me, but after doing the qualifying, with qualifying #1 and 2, that's ultimately where we want to be, and that's where we were setting.
Wildfoot and Bigfoot proceeded through the brackets with ease, mowing down competitors with methodical precision. Then, in the semifinals, Brass and Wildfoot laid down an incredible pass, remembered by all who witnessed it simply as the wheelie run.
Well, the wheelie run was a little different run for us. We come off the line, we did a real good line shot, come over the first set of cars, and we stayed into the throttle. Then the front end never did touch down for us. I was able to look through the floorboard because we run a Lexan floorboard in the trucks now. And I was able to see the hill, so I knew that I was going to hit the hill straight. The only problem I was really concerned with was if I didn't touch down before the hill, that the hill was going to load the back shocks up and nose the truck over.
First thing that went through my mind was, I can't believe the engine had that much power to be able to carry the front wheels that far. And the second thing that went through my mind was, I can't believe the driver had that much heart to hold in there and keep on the gas and ride that kind of wheel.
Just waiting for it to go over backwards. I knew with the trucks the way they're designed, he's got Lexan floor. He can see through the floor of the truck and see where he's going. And that's exactly what he was doing, because he hit that last hill on two wheels and it flipped him forward and he crossed the finish line on his front tires. And to me, it was the most spectacular run I've ever seen.
The wheelie run put Brass and Wildfoot into the finals against his old truck, Bigfoot 10, and teammate Gene Patterson. Brass nosed Wildfoot ahead at the end to take the win and complete a perfect point score for the first race of the 93 series. Team Bigfoot came out just as strong for the next day's racing. But an unfortunate mechanical failure sent Brass and Wildfoot to the pits early.
We ended up in about the second round. We twisted off an oil pump shaft and run the shaft out the bottom of the oil pan, and that knocked us out for the day.
So, Patterson and Bigfoot motored on to take a win.
To get that win in a point series as in that status meant a lot to me, and it was a major, major confidence booster in myself. Coming out of the first race and pulling off a win like that only on the second day sitting in the truck. So I felt really good about going to the next race in the 93 season.
In part, the success of Team Bigfoot can be attributed to creator Bob Chandler and his love of the high-tech approach to building a better monster truck. It's not unusual to find him racing the sun into the office and usually getting there first to begin another day of refining these monster machines. Computer-aided design, modeling, and testing has played a major role in keeping Team Bigfoot ahead of the competition throughout the years. Another key ingredient to success is the team approach.
We decided last year to put together a team, and it was probably the first one of any monster truck to do this. We figured it was the next step in the progression of monster truck racing, basically. We brought in some engine specialists, we brought in engine tuner specialists, and we went out on the road with two trucks racing. We had somebody there to watch how these trucks were performing, and if there was a flaw somewhere, they'd fix it between rounds. And you've got specialists in different fields, and each guy sees the race in a different way. One guy sees the suspension, one guy sees the engine performance, let's say. And when you finish your race, you sit down with all these people, and each one has a different opinion of how this race can be won, how it can be run faster.
The reason we put that much effort into it is because we are the industry leader. People want to beat Bigfoot each and every time they come up to run. And we know that. We don't care who we run. They're out to beat us, and we want to stay ahead. We want to be the leader. We are the leader, and we want to stay that way.
When the racing series resumed, it was not exactly considered hot fun in the summertime.
Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania was real hot. It was not only hot for us drivers, it was hot for the people out on the grounds.
Now, Bloomsburg was the first race where we really had a lot of trouble with the Bigfoot truck. Gene Patterson, you know, our driver, launched it off the second obstacle and landed and broke the rear suspension so bad that it actually broke the engine plate, cracked the transmission housing, and also just tore off the back suspension. It was definitely an all-night ordeal for our team members. We had 5 people working on that truck from the end of the race till the next day, till a half hour before the start of the next race, to put that truck back together.
Despite the marathon repair session, Bigfoot and Wildfoot both came on strong for the next day's racing. Team Bigfoot was progressing through the rounds until Gene Patterson and Bigfoot 10 came down for a rough landing.
We was feeling real good about the race, but the heat was just taking its toll on everybody, the trucks, the crew. Semi-final round, I took a real hard hit, kind of got my bell rung a little bit. I just decided it wasn't safe for me or anybody else on the track, really, so I decided to set out the final round and watch from the sidelines.
And if that wasn't enough,
We got all the way to the semifinals and ended up in bent the rear cantilever arm.
Team Bigfoot's day ended in total frustration. But both trucks came back and qualified strong for the next day's racing, with Wildfoot taking the #1 slot. As the race progressed, Team Bigfoot marched to the finals, only to have more breakage sideline Bigfoot. But Wildfoot pulled out the win to salvage the long, hot weekend. The series moved to Springfield, Missouri, where the snakebite truck finally slithered out of its pit.
Every weekend that we went out for the first couple of weeks, we were just falling. We were falling behind in points fast. We went to Springfield, raced Wildfoot in the finals, and pulled out a first. Things were looking better.
Right off the first set of cars, when we grabbed third gear, we twisted the main shaft and the transmission and ended up having to take a second place. And then we come into the second day at Springfield. It was the same thing again, you know, it was Snake and I again. He was turning some real good times again.
In the second round, the Snake proved deadlier than the Foot. But as the race continued, the other Foot had other ideas.
We had a fresh transmission. We knew the transmission was going to be good for us. We knew we could run hard. We did run hard and pulled away from him there and took first place the second day.
The Bigfoot team did 8 races in 17 days, starting in Bloomsburg, going to Springfield, and ending in Canfield. In Canfield, Ohio, we were asked to do 4 races in 3 days. This is very demanding. This turns out to be somewhat of an endurance race. I mean, 4 races in 3 days, you just don't do that kind of thing with this type of equipment. But we did it, and we prevailed. We were winners.
I went in there, I was mentally prepared to win these races. I came out with 2 wins. It was a tremendous booster to myself, and it was a tremendous morale booster to the guys at the shop.
The second race at Canfield was really an interesting for us. It ended up and was paired up against the Bigfoot truck through the whole series. He kept coming back. We'd beat him. He'd come back as a fast loser. We'd beat him again. He'd come back as a fast loser. The third time finally we run him, he must have figured us out, and so he pulled away from us, and it was him that went on in the finals. And we knew the third race we put a fresh transmission in it. We done figured out our engine problems earlier. Like I say, it was something we had to get some points on, so we just kind of laid back in qualifying, took about a third or fourth place in the qualifying position, which set us up in the brackets about where we wanted to be, and we just walked on through the brackets and come out with the fastest time of the weekend, and it happened to be the fastest time of the year too, and we ended up and won the race.
The Point Series moved on to the granddaddy of them all, the Indianapolis Jamboree. Team Bigfoot had another pair of outstanding qualifying runs. But as the race grew near,
The forecast all said rain, and believe me, it rained. Which means we had to detune the trucks for the tracks because the tracks was real muddy.
and muddy was an understatement. By the final round, these were the worst conditions anyone had ever tried to race in.
And the first day of racing, I come up against Snakebite in the finals. He got his revenge on me and beat me. The second day, we detuned the motors a little bit more. We let a little more air pressure out with Firestone tires.
Even so, the track still was more like a mud bog than a monster truck course. But at least the rain stopped. In spite of the mud, Bigfoot knocked off Snakebite, setting up an all-foot final round.
Come down to the finals against Bigfoot here again, and the problem we had was we come off the line, just a whole lot of horsepower, unable to steer the truck, and we twisted the truck sideways right off the first set of cars, slid all the way to the second, almost rolled the truck. So it was just something that we was having a lot of handling problems in Indy. It was the last race of the year. We had a points lead advantage where all we knew we had to qualify the truck. We had to make the first round. Even if we went in the first round and lost, that was basically all we had to do. Here again, it was a qualify right before the race, so we did back off the truck a little bit. We were just concerned with being a little bit consistent with the truck and trying to make it through at least the first round for the points.
Wildfoot and Andy Brass laid down the qualifying run they needed. giving them enough points to clinch the year-long series.
Once we got past the qualifier, we knew we had the series wrapped up, then we just started standing on the truck a little bit.
After beating Snakebite in a later round, transmission problems ended Wildfoot's successful 1993 campaign.
We were sitting in third place in the points. Wildfoot was sitting in first place. What we wanted to do was finish first and second for the Ford Bigfoot team. We went in there. I qualified number 1 with the truck. We made it to the finals.
Snakebite won the race, but Bigfoot had moved up to second place in the final point standings.
We set out the 93 racing season with a goal in mind, and that was to finish first and second. And that's exactly what Team Bigfoot did. Wildfoot finishing first and Bigfoot finishing second.
Through a season of intense competition, certain moments stand out in the minds of each driver.
The high points of our season were beating Wildfoot twice in the finals and coming into the final race of the year blowing Bigfoot away. Out of the last 10 races, we went to the finals 7 times, winning 4 of them and beating everybody.
The highlight of the 93 season had to be the third race at Canfield, where we was able to take the fast time for the weekend. Thus, fast time held up for the fastest time of the year. And winning the 93 championship made Bigfoot the first to win 3 championships.
The high point had to come at Indianapolis, where I took a win at the motorsports capital of the world. Racing in adverse weather conditions, it was everything we could do just to hold the truck on the track. It felt real good to pull out a win here.
This series to me is a world-class series. To win this series is an ultimate achievement. It's the best it can be. And to take 2 trucks like we did, Wildfoot and Bigfoot, take first and second, to me it's the best we could have done. And all I can do is pat my team on the back because they're great.
As Team Bigfoot prepares for the 1994 season, some new players and new looks are coming. The newest race truck, BIGFOOT 14, is being campaigned by driver Dan Runty.
I've driven other Bigfoot trucks before. I ran number 8 last year in the series. It was very competitive. I jumped in 14 at the beginning of this year to find out what fast really is. You run the first set of cars, you never have to lift on the gas pedal. The harder you push on the gas, the faster you shift, the faster it goes.
The truck is called the BIGFOOT Cruiser. The new name and graphics support a series of BIGFOOT Cruiser street trucks. BIGFOOT Power Wheels represents another variation from the classic BIGFOOT Blue. This truck matches a new version of the popular Power Wheels battery-powered ride-on toy.
Monster trucks have come a long way in a short period of time, and Bigfoot will always stay in the forefront of this exciting motorsport.